Call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Additions to the agenda. Friends of Vernon Cemeteries has requested, and we have an executive session at the end on personnel. Anything else? Okay. Chair's remarks. We have received some thank you notes from Laura Osborne for the Cusick Scholarship, from Sarah Osborne for the Cusick Scholarship, and one from Carol Hammond. So I'm going to pass it to the board, and then we'll just leave them with the town clerk if anybody wants to see them. Okay. Open public comment for items not on the agenda. Please limit to 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
I had a couple questions from the May 6th meeting.
Okay.
I had looked at the agenda and listened to the videos, and there was a couple things that were voted on that I wasn't clear about. So there was a employment letter signed. What position was that for? Was that a new hire or an existing position?
I believe that was someone who was not being hired. I'm not sure because this was May 6th, it's the Brattleboro. Do you remember which one that was?
Someone that was not being hired.
Someone that was not being hired. They had one.
Oh, okay.
Shown interest.
Okay. And then what service is NIMRIC providing for April 1st, 2025 to March 31st of 2026 for 90 hours?
They're helping in the treasurer's office, getting everything onto the computers.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. Anybody else? That was short and sweet. Okay, minute approval? May 20th.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes of May 20th, 2025.
Is there a second?
Second,
Is there any discussion?
yes.
Yes.
On page 2, under local emergency management plan, one sentence doesn't make sense to me. It's actually the second sentence of that. State has changed how towns, so the web,
Do,
is it due?
Yes.
Do the web reporting? Okay. And now we're required to put it, okay. Thank you.
Yep, spell check didn't catch it, because there's a word. Thank you.
is there any other comments? Entertain. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. David?
Not sure if everybody was aware, but back in the winter, we had a hard time getting salt. Because again, it went south when they got hit. And we did get 4 loads from a completely different company. They allowed us to grab some. So be ready for this year for the pricing. This is, last time it happened, it went up 30%.
Thank you, David. You have any good news to share?
Oh, yeah. Cutting edges, snow plows and all that for sanders. We usually do it for $3,000. We got a cutting edge for the wing and the front plow. They're over $6,000 now. And it's only gonna get worse.
You're smiling.
What are you gonna do? Truck repairs are up. What are we gonna do? It's out of hand.
And it
We'll
is.
just continue to trust your good judgment.
The only other thing, we are going to rent a crack sealing machine. We're gonna do it ourselves on Pond Road, and that will save us about $3,000
Thank you.
without hiring it out.
Fire what kind of machine?
crack filling machine.
Oh,
I guess that's it.
oh, that was good, at least you ended on a good one.
We'll see.
Do you have any questions for David, Shelley, Andy?
No.
Jean? Paul?
I would like to commend the highway department for fixing up the monument up at the Fort Bridgman. And the new flag and cut the brush and stuff. Looks good.
Thank you. They do a
Welcome.
great job. Okay. Warrant,
Madam Chair,
isn't it?
I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 23T accounts payable, $173,335.89. 20S payroll, $9,591.26. And 21S payroll, $9,700.73.
Do you have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. David, do you want to take the town hall oil tank replacement?
Yep, I can speak to it.
I was gonna table it, but you're here.
New ruling that has come in effect, you cannot have two tanks hitched to one fill pipe. You can still have the vents hitched together, but you gotta have a manifold, and the pipe going out has to be one size bigger. But knowing we had to do that, the tanks are 25 years old. That's why, and I would suggest going with, Steve Gassett for the 8,183.19. It'd be for two 400 gallons, because they don't make 330s. And the double wall tanks.
If they're double wall tanks, do they have to put everything around them?
Because it's all built right around them, you don't even know it, looks like a regular tank. They'll have its own contamination.
Or? Any questions?
So the one thing from Gassett that was miscellaneous parts, that's not in addition to this, cause I see
No,
miscellaneous parts
no,
listed
that
as-
was, he was gonna try to put a price for the 330s, and they didn't, only 275s and 400.
Okay. Got it.
So what is your pleasure, board?
Do we have this in the capital plan to be replacing these? Oh,
That would be the heating system, that's not in the capital plan. And I haven't had a chance to look and see what we have left in the emergency repair and replace the larger fund. 'Cause I haven't had
Yeah,
access to
this
that.
is- that could take that right down.
Print out to the budgets where we stand, but not of that fund.
Dave, when does the rule go into effect? Is it something we could budget
If you
for
want
next
heat in
year?
this building this year, you're gonna have to do it. It's taking effect.
It's a state law.
Yep.
Okay.
And even if it's a coated piping, which we gotta find out, cause this will, with the Roth tanks, they come out of the top, they'll go across the ceiling. But they want even the piping with protection around them now.
Is that in homes too?
I'm not sure if it's gonna affect homes or not. I would say it's going to eventually.
It's a trickle down effect.
Yep.
Well, depending on how some of the funds are, I would think that the emergency capital plan could be used for this. It has to get replaced,
Right,
but I think we have options there to be able to do it, to go
that's
ahead and
what
do
falls
it,
there.
and see what is in our,
And it doesn't have to be done this fiscal year either.
right,
What's the timing on that, David?
He'll have it done before fall.
Okay.
And he's willing to let us do stuff that we can do, like he did with the heating unit at the town garage.
The way he came in with a
We
good
went
price.
in, we took it down, and he came in, but he knocked the price down.
Nice.
I mean, if we gotta pump the tanks over for him, we'll pump the tanks over. Little by little.
Yes. Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we replace the fuel tanks in the town office building with gas or energy for the two 400-gallon double wall fuel tanks for $8,183.19,
Thank you. From the emergency capital.
or whichever fund has money.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Fuel bids.
Well, we got 3 this year. Some don't bid on everything. Not sure if Marabeto would be interested in just the diesel, because they're coming out of Bennington. So I'm gonna suggest going with AR Sandry for all of them. And the heating we'll figure out to be like $278.9 with all the taxes included. Right now, we're paying $303.9.
Okay, very good. That's good news, David.
Good.
What is your pleasure, board?
Madam Chair, I move that we use AR Sandy for all the town's fuel needs.
You have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Cemetery deed, Tyler Cemetery. 410 A, B, and C to Terry and Joyce Good.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we, do I say sell, or how do I word it?
Approve and sign the cemetery deed.
Oh, approve and sign the cemetery deed for lot 410 A, B, and C to Terry and Joyce Goodnow.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Do you have the original for us to sign?
I think Shelley has it.
Okay. Wildlife Corridor Project, Daniel Dubie, Ecologist of Northwoods Connections.
Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce Daniel Dubie and remind the board that we previously submitted a sample of his work, but he's here to present a proposal for the wildlife corridor project today. He's an ecologist from Northwoods Connection. You should have received, his paperwork in the email already.
Yeah, I don't think I saw a map, but.
Okay, sir, you're on.
Hello. Would you like me to use a microphone or am I good right here?
You could stand right there, I can.
You're right,
Okay.
he says.
I guess my first question, well, I'm Daniel Dubie. I live in Brattleboro. And I'm an ecologist and I own my own business. I have been working for the last 4 or 5 years with 4 land trusts to the north of here and also private landowners in the region. And wanted to ask you one quick question. Did you get my proposal via email or should I say a digital copy of it?
Yeah.
I'll just do a quick summary of it for folks that are also in the room. I've been contacted by Norma from the Conservation Commission as to look at a possible project of identifying wildlife corridors in the town of Vernon. And the thought behind this is to better establish wildlife and human relationships, keeping large tracts of land intact, which the wildlife use and move through the area, is beneficial for everybody, humans and wildlife. And I have been asked to put together a proposal to do this work over the next year from now until next year at this time. And the proposal entails working with Wyndham Regional Commission to identify and map out possible wildlife corridors in the town. And then when we look at what is possibly used by wildlife, then we would go to Norma and the Conservation Commission and identify a handful of those to study in depth. So I put out 3 to 6 corridors. And when I say a corridor, I'm talking about land that connects one forest block to another forest block across human infrastructure. So roads and settled areas. And the theory here is to let wildlife move throughout the town of Vernon and the region, the way they have for thousands of years, and to help the town of Vernon into the future identify and know those areas. So if you wish to protect movement from here to there or across the road, you are better able to understand these areas. And so after we would identify these areas, I would then go on the ground, put out wildlife cameras, do on-the-ground tracking, and assess the habitat. And then, with that knowledge, I would then put that into a deliverable, a report, and maps that the town of Vernon would have to use in the future. And that information could also be put into a possible town plan in the future. And yeah, the theory behind this is to better provide the town of Vernon the tools to sustain positive human and wildlife relationships. And one of the best ways to do that is to keep habitat intact. And I have some resources available to better understand this if anybody has any questions, and I'm also available anytime to talk about this more. And I don't know the timing of when you would vote on this, or maybe it's tonight, I'm not sure, but I'm available outside of this to talk more. Any questions?
Any questions, Shelley? Andy? Jim? Jim? Thank you very
Anybody
much.
else? Thank you.
So, Daniel, you will require a contract.
Yes, the contract would be written up, and we would figure out the specifics of payment or timing. And I don't know if the town of Vernon would want to write up a contract, or I would write up a contract. With the organizations that I work with, the private organizations I work with, I usually write up a contract for them, but then sometimes somebody else might want to write their own contract up. It sort of depends upon the situation. But the contract if I were to write it up, it would basically reflect what was in that proposal. It would just be in a more formal context.
Georgia?
Is there a cost to the town for this?
Yeah, so I estimated it at 100, just over 100 hours, so 110 hours at $70 an hour. So that's just under $7,700 $7,700 that I estimated it at. And what that would include would be my time working with the Wyndham Regional Commission, working with the Conservation Commission, and also on the groundwork in the field, and also the write-up and the deliverable. So it would be a package deal.
And so this is through ARPA funds that are secured. Oh, okay, thank you.
Right.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's your background, your education, degrees, such?
Yeah, so I have an associate's degree in forestry, and I also have a bachelor's in wildland ecology, more specifically in the northern reaches of North America, so Canada and the Arctic. But I've also specialized in the mountainous regions in New England, and I also have a master's in environmental ed.
In what?
Environmental education. So my specialty is to take the ecology and the natural history and blend it with the person, the people. And so to help foster the relationships between those. And so I feel like this would be a good opportunity to help do that and provide the town of Vernon a good tool to help do that on a sort of a larger scale.
We felt this was specifically important to our goals because Vernon does not have zoning, and we would require the cooperation of landowners and to educate them, to have them willingly perhaps provide maybe an easement, or just if they can't do that, just be aware through education of what's coming through property. And the goal, the road department just worked with Wyndham Regional and mapped out all of the culverts in town. And during the hazard mitigation meeting, we were informed that doing this process would show that we have sort of done expansive look at these culvert projects and could possibly aid us in pulling down money for culvert projects and other projects in town.
Another question, you have no degrees or anything of that nature in wildlife biology?
Not a degree, no. I have training, but no degree.
No degrees.
okay, any other questions? Jim?
I got one. The ARPA $8,000, I thought we'd exhausted that, or is this part of the
That's
exhaustion?
allocated
It's allocated,
for that
okay,
project.
good.
I really would encourage people to ask questions, anything that comes to your mind now, because this will help guide us in what the town feels is the value of this project, or areas that might not be. We did let Daniel know that our first and foremost goal was wildlife-human conflict, and so that is why he spoke specifically to that.
Okay, moving on, we're going to the auditor contracts.
We're done with that? Do we wanna see a contract now?
Would you like me to write one up? Okay.
No, you can take it up at the next meeting.
How often do you meet? Once a month or?
Twice,
First and third.
Tuesdays.
Okay, have before you the auditor contracts for fiscal year end for 25 and fixed assets.
I'd like to add there was no increase to the contract this year from last year.
Nothing changed, pretty standard.
And the fixed assets is exactly as they had projected.
What is your pleasure,
That's
Joe?
the second largest.
It's 1490.
Who do we want? Shelley?
It's Shelley side.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the auditor contract for the RHR Smithing Company and have the town administrator sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That carries. Chad, I think you're up. Request for grand list filing extension.
Yes, Madam Chair, the Lister's office requests a 30-day extension from June 5th to lodge the grand list. At the time we did the request, we hadn't received utilities from the state. I received them this morning, but there's some discrepancies, which I had some nice phone calls with the state. We're talking with San Souci concerning Great River Hydro and Transco. So they said they should give us numbers by the end of the week, but we would still need to have our finalization meeting to approve the numbers for both personal property and utilities, which we are going to schedule for June 18th. And then lodge the grand list about June 25th. So, and I'll get those warnings out next week.
So board, do we have a motion to allow the grand list filing extension?
So moved.
Wait a second.
Second.
This isn't uncommon.
Yeah, I know.
All those in,
Next year we'll do the same thing again, probably.
all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay.
Okay, Friends of Vernon Cemeteries.
So 3 quick things. Houses, we got rained out on both of our, Sandy's laughing, both of our scheduled work days for Tyler. So we'd like to know if you would sanction us for June 22nd, and we will try again if it doesn't rain.
I have a suggestion. Why don't you put down that you're gonna do it on the first Saturday or Sunday, but it's not raining?
We could do that.
Because I don't think you can count on it.
You don't think we can count on the 22nd?
I would hold my breath.
All right, we'll aim for the 22nd, but we'll go until we get it done. Perfect. The second thing is Charlie Marchant, who was our speaker here. He's actually doing a tutorial over in Bedford on Saturday about leaning stones. So Joyce and I are going to be attending that tutoring over there. And then last but not least is I sent Shelley an email, the sign at Tyler Cemetery. I think that was on the agenda for the cemetery committee. And I don't know if it didn't happen because it got disbanded or what happened, but because part of our mission is to make the cemeteries very aesthetic looking, we'd like to get the sign painted. And I did get a proposal from Johnny Green, who's a Vernon resident and has ancestors in Tyler Cemetery, and he said he'd be honored to do it, and he quoted me at $200.
I'm not sure if Dennis Tier was contacted. Have you checked with Mary Lynn?
Who?
Dennis Tier?
Dennis Keel?
Tier.
Teal.
Who's he?
I don't know.
T-I-E-R. He does
Oh,
the
Tier.
town signs.
Yeah, I know Dennis Keel, yeah. All right, yeah, I will check with Mary Lynn on that,
Okay.
and if she hasn't, is it okay to go ahead with Johnny Green?
Board, what is your pleasure?
Wouldn't we wait for the cemetery committee to get formed up and make that decision?
We can do
Bring
that.
it to us? And that's just waiting for a procedure.
Because the
Okay.
sign's really atrocious
It
looking.
is.
I did send pictures, and I have better pictures here.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
in lieu of no cemetery committee, per state statute, you are the cemetery committee.
Thank you, Mary Lynn.
You're welcome.
She says with a smile. Okay.
Well, it changes everything. In our role as cemetery committee, I recommend,
Glad I could help.
we spend that money to get that sign fixed up. And, but, you know, you got a $200 quote from that guy, but check with our regular sign, with
Okay, and that's
regular
Dennis
sign
here
thing.
is your regular sign person?
Yeah.
All right, I will check with him, but I do have to go ahead if he's higher than Johnny. Or do you want me to bring it back to you?
Yeah.
Bring it back?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Can you
Okay,
ask her now? Did you call?
What?
Were you having her ask Mary Lynn, who's there right now, if he'd been contacted?
Yeah, does she have Dennis's information?
Yes, she does.
Had she contacted him or
Mary
no?
Lynn,
Yes,
did you contact Dennis on this?
no, I had not yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ask me anyway. Old Growth Forest Network Registry. Is that you?
I did not put that on, but what happened was that I forwarded the information to everyone that was involved because I was contacted by the regional coordinator saying that they were now dealing directly with Seth Theo on this and that they were negotiating about there was 50-foot buffer, but there was a catch to that because it said that there was logging allowed within that area, and she wanted to talk to the big person, and she sent a contract. Do you have that, Shelley? The contract was an attachment to the email I forwarded to you.
Oh, that was the contract? I thought it was just a memorandum of understanding.
Yes, sorry, I don't know all the legal
Okay.
information. Yes, the memorandum of understanding. So I guess all I need to really say to you is that as far as I am right now, we submitted our endorsement, so it would be between Seth and the organization and this body.
Okay, thank you. Town admin report, madam.
The town van is ready to be picked up once the road commissioner is available at some point soon. The appointment policy for boards, commissions, and committees has been composed and is currently waiting for the town attorney's review and will be on the next agenda. And the auditors have completed their work on fiscal year 23-24, and a draft of the audit will be available mid-July. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. We do need to go into executive session on a personnel matter.
Not a specific personnel, I don't even know what we're going for.
Certainly. And, number two, David and Shelley.
Nuke.
Madam Chair, I move that we enter into executive session for the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, and include the road commissioner and the town administrator.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. It is 7:04 and we're going into executive session. We went to executive session at 7:04, came out at 7:16. No action was taken.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we have our town administrator search for and find us a bookkeeper.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next meeting is on June 17th. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. It's non-debatable.
So moved.
Okay. We're all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Yeah.
We're adjourned at 7:16.